meet you.
Thanks,
go ahead, Papa.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Papa. I'm from Senegal, and I moved here in Canada in Edmonton, less than a year. So I have 6 years of experience in the industry. Like back home, in the oil and gas industry, I have a background in electromechanics, and I work as a project engineer first before integrating the career in procurement. And now I'm here in Canada trying to transfer my international experience to the Canadian market. So I'm working now in a warehouse in the oil and gas industry, but trying to do something and the procurement. And yeah, it's a pleasure to meet everyone here. Thank you.
Quick follow-up question, Papa. What is the company you're working for?
Like I'm working for here in Canada?
Yeah.
Yeah, distribution now. Dino? Yeah.
Okay, I haven't heard about them. Do they have a program, like educational program or traditional program that you can apply for? Because a warehouse is a part of supply chain. And I was just thinking it could be a bridge I can use to go back into procurement at some point.
Yeah, like they don't have specially that program, but like every time they have an open position, they used to ask for people in the warehouse if there is someone who has the background, like all the experience. Even if it's an international experience, like we got 1 month ago, someone who was there like for 1 year in the warehouse in the same position and who got a position in the supply chain. So yeah, he just like got the position for supply chain coordinator. So if there is something available, they used to ask for people in the warehouse if there is someone with the like related experience. If not, they post it on LinkedIn or another website.
Sounds good. Yeah, we'll talk more later on. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I think Remy should be able to join us if she could just go ahead to introduce herself. Then we'll take it away from there. Remy, I've just sent you an invitation as a panelist, so you should accept that so that you can be on the stage here.
Yeah, thank you.
We can hear you, Remy. You can just share your screen and then you can introduce yourself. Sorry, I think you said the link was in. I don't know why that happened.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I won't be able to share my screen.
Okay.
So sorry for that.
Go ahead.
So good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. My name is Remilekun Obadino. Currently working with the city of Winnipeg as a store supervisor. I have over 20 years experience in supply chain, cut across all the options. And I'm here also to learn from each other and to contribute to the interview. The student that have interview. They have this mock interview just to learn from each other and to contribute my quota as well. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. So here we go. The session starts formally, and let's have it. The two of the interview panelists are quite well experienced with how we organize our mock interview. So I'll just leave it for you both. Gautier is leading the interview, and we will take it in rounds, with each of the interviewees. Gorman is interviewing for the category analyst. Papa is interviewing for buy and procurement analyst. And then there will be feedback as we go. So after that, hopefully we can take about 5 more questions, but we will be taking in questions as so. Don't hesitate to put your question in the chat box if you are there listening in, so that towards the end of the session, 15 minutes specific, precisely, we'll be taking responses from the interview panelists to the questions that we get from the attendees. So that's how we're going to do it today. Over to you, Agoti.
Thank you very much, Abi, and welcome everyone. So today we are having two very great candidates, and we are going through two positions. So feel free to ask questions anytime, Papa and German. After each question, the panel will provide you some feedback in order to help you to improve or to get better at your answers. There is no feel relaxed. Okay, feel relaxed. It has to be like a conversation. It's not like like question and you can add any question back. So let me say we'll start with the very common questions. And I'll start with Gorman. You are on the top of my screen. Can you, in about 2 minutes, tell us about yourself?
Yes, sure. Thanks, Carter. Thanks for the opportunity. So my name's Gurman, and I have 5+ years of experience in category management, working primarily in the manufacturing and construction sectors. So in my previous role at the Smart Cube, I was responsible for managing the brakes category, muffler, tubing categories that are worth around 2 to 5 million for the MTD products, and it's a US-based power equipment manufacturer. So for this client, for the MTD products, over the course of time, I have observed around 18% cost savings in terms of cost of ownership. And so I have extensive experience in kind of delivering actionable insights and recommendations to drive the category growth. I have experience in the market intelligence and research and the ability to gather and synthesize market and supply data. So I have completed my Masters of Business Administration in Marketing and Operation. And this year I have completed my supply chain procurement certification from ASCM.
Okay. Thank you for the introduction, Roman. And I will ask the same question to Papa, and then I will have Remy to give her feedback. I'll give some feedback, and Abidin can give some feedback. So, Papa, can you, in 2 minutes, introduce yourself? Tell us a bit about who you are.
Okay, thank you, Roger. Yeah, my name is Papa. I'm from Senegal and moved to Edmonton like less than a year. So for training, I have a background in electromechanic engineers, so engineering, and I started my career as a project engineer before going to the procurement field. And in the procurement field, I was in charge of managing a portfolio of suppliers, especially in maintenance and construction for Total Energy in the oil and gas industry. Like in this role, I have to manage the supplier relationship, their assessment, and managing the sourcing strategy from the purchase location system to like the payment and all the process with identifying the needs, identifying the potential suppliers, and negotiating the best deal and contract for my company. So I moved to Canada like this year, like next year in October 2023. And now I'm looking for something in my field here in Canada, and just like early this year, I also passed my certification as a project management professional. Yeah, so now maybe the next step will be trying to get a certification in supply chain or procurement. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, so the first good thing that I've noticed, both of you introduce yourself under the 2-minute mark, which is very good. Sometimes we have candidates who will go like 5-7 minutes, and you say, when are they going to stop, for God's sake? So very good point there. And what I also liked about your both responses, you touched up on your certifications. So when you mentioned your procurement certificate from ASCM, you mentioned your master degree in marketing and data analysis. Papa, you mentioned your PMP, and you mentioned that you are looking forward to having your certification in procurement supply chain. So one other good thing that I've highlighted on both responses were your skills and your previous experience. So those are very good highlights. Now, in general, when you're asked this question, there's 2 parts that you need to nail on. The first is check mark all the requirements from the job description. So they'll say you're looking for like a 5 to 10 years experience in this field. So for Papa, I didn't hear how many years experience you have in the field. Let me have missed that. I know, German, you precise, you clarify that in your answer. You want to know what is your field. They would say you want procurement with experience in oil and gas, or in mechanical, or in construction. Make sure that your introduction highlight that aspect. You want someone who has an STMP or a CSAP. So none of you have mentioned, touch on those key certifications. You might have, if you have a procurement certificate, and you know that they're asking for a CSAP, you remember to say, I have my procurement certificate and that enrolled in the CSAP. I'm planning to complete that by this deadline. It's you know the requirement and you're working towards it. Same thing for you, Papa. Yeah, make sure that in the job ad you spot on what is the requirement in terms of certification and what is the timeline you are giving yourself to get that certification if you're not meeting that criteria yet. So the last thing that I'll suggest is put a bit, talk to yourself. So you need to connect with the audience, with the panel, right? It needs to be a conversation, and you need an icebreaker. So you're not only a procurement specialist, you're a human being too. You might have 3 kids. You might love hockey, or you might love basketball or cricket. And once you say that, those 2 things, and if you have mentioned basketball, I will have asked you, who's your favorite player? And maybe like Siakam. And from there, we create a link, we create a connection. And that will help you to ease off on the interview, and it will help us a lot. So don't only focus on your core competencies or on the job. Look at people. In some role that we are hiring right now, we have a pretty solid team in my company, and we are looking first of all at someone who can be a good fit with the team. That's the first thing that you're looking at. You might be the best procurement specialist or the best hire, but if you cannot fit in with the current team, we will not hire you. So, and the only way to say is through your personal skills, your human being, and who you are. So I'll stop there, and I'll ask Remy and Abidun if they have some comments.
Okay. You've said it all. Just a little feedback and addition to what you have said. As you said, the introduction is just merely 2 minutes. It's a speech elevator that someone have to walk around it so that you cover everything. Because you are just introducing yourself within 2 minutes, and which is cover your experience, then your proficiency, the software you are good in using. Because as a procurement specialist or as a buyer, you must have a knowledge of the software that using in the organization, whatever your organization or where you are applying to, you must know at least have a software that you use as a procurement specialist or inventory specialist or a buyer. So you must have a software that you need to introduce. I mentioned when you are introducing yourself to the audience, and then at the same time your certification and education, which you have already mentioned, then the skill. The bottom line of being a specialist or a buyer is you are saving cost. So you need to mention maybe just in a brief that, okay, you will be able to save 10 million, 20 million while you are running a project. You will know that, okay, this guy is there to, is coming in to be, saving costs for the company. So that one is very, very important. Then your body language also matters. You at least carry your audience along. At least you have this contact, face-to-face contact, which is very, very important. I think that's what I have to say. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you, Remy.
I have nothing to say. I think you guys already, gave a very, very good feedback. So we can move along. Thanks, Gautier. Anyways.
Sounds good. Remy, do you want to take the first question? And probably on the buyer and procurement role. And then we'll take the next question on category analyst.
Okay, I will take the first question. The question is, describe a time when you successfully negotiated a contract with a vendor. What was the situation and what approach did you take? Shall I repeat the question again?
And the question is for Papa, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Do you want me to repeat the question, Papa?
Yeah, please, one more time.
Okay. The question is, describe a time when you successfully negotiated a contract with a vendor. What was the situation and what approach did you take?
Okay, thank you, Remy. Yeah, like I would say, one time, like just after the COVID, we had workers from our technical department like to purchase fuel tanks for our gas station network. Like we do our sourcing process, and after we decide like to negotiate with 2 suppliers, but unfortunately, due to the impact of the COVID, these 2 suppliers decided to increase their prices for like 5%, I think. Yeah, for 5%, and we have a budget, and we were not ready to like go up of this budget. So I like decided to negotiate with these suppliers and propose them to give them a blanket purchase order. When we gonna consolidate every like our annual needs, instead of ordering 1 tank and after ordering another one, we just propose them to give them our annual needs, and to help them to do the order for the raw material. Like it will be a very big volume that could help them to minimize the cost and at the same time giving us a cost saving. And after that, they both decide to accept our proposition with a blanket purchase order for 1 year, and that help us to avoid this increasing, and instead we succeed to have a 2% reduction from the price. So I think it's not actually 2% of cost saving, but 7% of cost saving is the 5% of increasing. I think it's one of my favorite because it was in a very difficult period when every prices were going up, and with just a consolidation of our need for a good volume, we succeed to have a good negotiation and at the same time a cost reduction. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Papa. That was a very good and concise answer. Remy, do you want to go with the feedback first before we jump in?
Yes, that's a good one, Papa. But when it comes to interview, we said that we need to use this STAR method to illustrate your points to the audience, STAR reset. That is, situation is X, T for task, A is for action, and R is the result. So you need to let us know. I know the situation you mentioned, COVID. That is what led to your cost saving, which you mentioned as well. But you still need to elaborate a bit. What that situation, what caused you to negotiate a contract with your vendor? You need to let us know the project. Okay, maybe you are looking for a product. You can mention the name of the product or services. Then you tell us the situation, what led to that. You tell us the situation, then the tax. What did you do? How did you go through the process? How did you convince the vendor? How many vendors did you contacted before you now negotiate with one that was successful? Then what action did you take as well? Did you get a is it an RFP or RFQ or RFT? You need to mention, because those are the language that the procurement wants. The audience, which is procurement special, the interviewer wants to know what process did you take before you can negotiate a contract. It has a process. Do you ask for RFQ? Is it RFP? Is it RFT? You have to mention the process just in a brief way, so that people know, okay, the process of getting a contract before it's being awarded. There's a process. Then what was the result? You mentioned that you have a 5% cost saving, which is good. And if you follow this, using this method, the STAR method is going to up. And you have, using this method, you have different scenario for yourself, so that anyone they ask, you be able to use this method and you be able to explain to the audience. And especially when it comes to procurement, those languages is very, very important. You need to be mindful of that. Talk about what process do you use. Then you mentioned PO, that is after the contract was awarded. Definitely you have to issue the PO to the successful people. So all those is very, very important. Just be mindful that when it comes to procurement stuff, they have some slangs that you need to put into your response, so that they will know, okay, you have the experience and you know what you are doing. So that's what I have. Thank you.
Thank you for your feedback, Remy. And I was quite happy with the way you approached your answer. So when you started, I was looking, okay, what was the situation? And you mentioned it was the COVID era, and there was a price increase from supplier. And for the task, you mentioned that you had to negotiate the price because of your budget constraints. In terms of action, you went and you did your purchase analysis or your spend analysis, and you came up with a blanket order for a consolidated purchase for the year. And in terms of results, you mentioned the 7% cost saving. I'm glad that your analysis on the cost saving didn't only factor in the upfront 2% discount on the volume, on the quantity purchase, but also factored in the cost avoidance of the 5%. So it means that you can prepare with some scenarios. And I'll ask two questions to kind of understand what we are dealing here with. What was the commodity or what was the product that was involved in the negotiation? Was it valves, nuts, bolts? What was the commodity that you were negotiated on? That's the first question. And the second question, what happens to the relationship that you have with the other supplier of that commodity?
Okay, good. Thank you. The product was of fuel tanks, like the fuel tanks for our gas station. Like we used to order it every year for some time. We have to do some replacement in some gas station, or sometimes we use it for our customers' shift. Like if we have a new project, or so we don't wait like until we have a project to order one. We used to like do an annual order for some times to have a stock. And if we are in an emergency situation, we don't need to wait like 3 or 4 months to get the product. So it was a full time. I don't know if you like understand.
Yeah, the tank itself. The tank
exactly.
itself.
Yeah, the tank itself. And we have like a good relationship with the supplier, because like these suppliers, I will answer to any questions. Like it was an RFT with like 5 suppliers, and we decide at the end to negotiate with 2 suppliers, and we have a good relationship with these suppliers who used like to do the same job for us for like 15 years, I think. So so when we were negotiating with them, we just like trying to understand their concern and trying to figure a solution that will help both parties, like even us and the suppliers at the same time. And after one meeting, I can say, like we decided like both to accept to consolidate our volume and help them like to have a cost saving from their vendor for the raw materials. I don't know if it's like answer to your question or not.
I'm good. I don't know, Remy, do you have any follow-up question to his answer?
No. Okay.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much. So now we are going to the next question, and this is geared towards Germain. So tell us, Germain, how do you conduct market research and analysis to support category management decisions? How do you conduct market research and analysis to support category management decisions?
Thanks, Gautam. Thanks for this question. So to conduct the market research and to do the analysis to support the category management decisions, I kind of follow a structured approach that leverages both qualitative and quantitative data research. So I use a combination of primary research and secondary research methodologies that includes, leveraging industry reports, leveraging articles, and engaging directly with suppliers and industry experts, and gathering data from a variety of sources. That also includes kind of market intelligence databases or company subscribed databases, news articles, or even the financial statements. So to analyze the collected data, I used a combination of tools that included Excel and other tools. For instance, in my company, while I was working as the senior category analyst at the Smart Cube, I conducted a market research for sourcing bearings for the MTD products. So I used market reports and I engaged with suppliers to understand the pricing trends, their production capabilities, the delivery times. The analysis revealed kind of cost-effective suppliers in Asian countries, so leading to the development of kind of a low-cost sourcing strategy, and filtering out the suppliers who could be the potential suppliers for the category I made the market research for.
Perfect. That was a very, very well worded answer. So what I liked about it, the question had two sections. The first section was the market research. The second part was the analysis. So, and you gave me the primary and secondary research methodologies, considering the quantitative and qualitative data aspect of your research, engaging with public data entities, in-house entities, suppliers as subject matter SMEs, subject matter experts. So that's very good. On the analysis part, I was hoping to have a bit more, but you touched up on Excel, right? So Excel is, I would say, the basics for that. But when you mention Excel, drill down, that's where the power of an analyst is. Power Query, pivot table, dashboards, Power BI. So make sure that you tell us like how good you are with those tools, right? Link that to decision making. Your role as an analyst is to provide the data, tools, and recommendations for the directors, the managers, and the VPs to make clear decisions, right? So, and you started with an example, and I really love the transition into a star format. So next time, try to have like a solid star situation that you present. Right? You started by giving, okay, there was an example at Square Smart Cube. So draw a complete scenario where you give us the situation, give us the task that you did, the result, the action, and the result that came out of it. So overall, I'm quite happy. And you have like 60-70% of what it takes to nail down this question. Just add the 30% more, and you nail it down.
So in terms of 30%, as you mentioned, that I may be short in terms of mentioning the data analysis tools. And other thing which I've missed is maybe because the star approach that you say.
Yes, an example in the star approach. And then the last element is linking to decision making. Remember, your role is to ease up the decision of the leadership team. So, and show how you have a great communication skills. You might have the best report ever, but if you cannot communicate it clearly to the management to be able to take decisions, then there's a bridge, there's a gap in your efficiency for the company.
Sure. Thanks, Gaurav. Thanks for the feedback.
No worries. Remy, Abby?
Yes, you said it all because I didn't hear about the results too, as you mentioned in your feedback. And also, just want to emphasize on where you said you engaged the supplier. So what method did you use in engaging the supplier? You can just give us a small example that you use there. Is the RFS that you use, because for you to engage your supplier, maybe you have to send out the RFS to them to enable to get a potential supplier at the end of the day. So just need to elaborate more on that. Then you mentioned that you engage the governmental bodies, because for you to get a data, when you are looking for data gathering, you need to involve you need to engage the supplier, you need to check what about your spend analysis,
Yeah.
Maybe help you to determine how for you to get more information than other government, but maybe that's what you are sourcing for. Maybe you have other governments started already have that contract in place. So getting in touch with them will help you to gather more information that will enable you to, when you want to maybe post the tender or the proposal, to help you in all those things. And when you're doing analysis too, it's going to help, which is okay. But as because I said that you need to use the staff format to help you tell us the situation that led to this, that situation that led to the data gathering, what is the product, what is the commodity, or is it a service that led to that. You need to mention it, then you need to let us know. You mention the task, the action, and the results at the end of the day. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Remy. Thanks for the feedback.
You're welcome.
So there's one more thing that I just thought about, and I remember it stood out for one of the candidates we were hiring. If you are currently part of a professional network, or if you are subscribed to a newsletter or a professional body, mention that, because you need to show how unique you are. And your uniqueness comes also from a combination of the different angles of approach that you can bring to the team. So if you receive every week like a newsletter from a mechanical engineering association where you stay up to date on what's happening in that field, if your role is in construction and you have a membership with the construction association of, I don't know, XYZ, mention that. It means that you are on the top of the newest information in the field, and maybe all the other 5 candidates are not part of those professional bodies, and that might be your value added and the game changer in the decision making. So if you're not part of it, and you know that it exists, mention that and say that you know where it exists and you are willing to pay membership to go and get those. So those little tricks can help you stand out in the candidate form.
Perfect. Thanks, Roger. Thanks for the amazing feedback, and Remy as well.
Okay, so Remy, you take the next question.
Yes. I think it goes for Papa. So the question is, can you give an example of a time when you had to manage multiple procurement projects simultaneously? How did you prioritize your tasks? Hello, Papa.
Oh, I did not notice that I was on the question.
Did you get the question?
Yeah. No, I think, yeah, you can repeat that. I think I get it. Yeah, you can repeat it.
Okay. Can you give an example of a time when you had to manage multiple procurement projects simultaneously?
Okay.
How did you prioritize your tasks?
Okay. Yeah, like in my young career, because of like I was in charge of all project procurement in maintenance and construction for Total Energy Senegal. Like I used to have a lot of projects to manage at the same time. Yeah. So when we were like rebranding Total Energy from like the previous like brand to the new one in 2021, I have a lot of construction project, and at the same time the rebranding project. So I have to manage them and prioritize them, like without like any problem in one of them. So when I have to do this, I like used to look at the emergence of the project, which one like from the alignment of our organization, which one has to get the result first before the other one, and like this, I can like make an analysis for ourselves.
distribution. When you have a multiple procurement project simultaneously, that is a project, and you need to there's some actions that you need to put in place before you can manage that multiple procurement project. You have to look at who are your suppliers, who are your stakeholders, how about your project team, and you need to consider the deadline, because for you to have a project, must have a project analysis already that will enable you before you can commence on the project. So you need to consider all those people, the stakeholder, the supplier, the project team. Then you have your deadline. Then you have to write out your challenges. What are the challenges that you are going to face for this project? Is it going to be materials? Is it going to be weather? It depends on the area. Is it going to be the project team as well, or is it going to be approval from the management? All those things have to put in consideration. Then you have to let us know your tasks as a procurement or officer or specialist or a buyer. What step did you take for you to manage this multiple procurements simultaneously? What are those things did you do? Do you have a priority list? Is it construction coming before the procurement? Okay, the construction, what are the things you need to put into consideration so that it doesn't affect the procurement, the second project? So I don't know how many projects, or maybe 2 or 3. So you have to have a to-do list and know the importance, and as I mentioned, that the stakeholder, the supplier, the project team, and other factors need to come in. Then you have to explain the step you now took to manage those workload. Do you have a team? Do you have a team A for construction? You have team B for this. How do you manage those 2 teams together? Do you have a project officer that oversees the other project? Do you have a meeting, the morning brief? You have a brief meeting there at the end of the day. Do you have a meeting to able to check your checklist, what you're able to do for that day? And that's how you able to manage those multiple projects. Then what are the results? Do you have the results of those managing these 2 projects? Do you meet on time? Did you finish the project on time? Or is there any delay? Then what is the if there's any delay, what do you have? Sorry, when you talk of the project, you have what they call it now. The risks, you need to manage the risks too. What is your risk management before you can manage a multiple project? All those things, you need to put them into consideration when you are explaining. Then you just give us a brief outcome of all the process, how you manage it, then the results. Thank you. Katja, do you have any
thank you, Remy.
Okay, go ahead, go ahead.
Oh no, you go if you have some.
Okay, no. I just wanted to thank Remy for the feedback. But it's very useful. I think I have something to improve for this kind of question. Some other part of her feedback, I also answer it, but maybe I use different language. It's not like the right language I was supposed to use. For example, she also talked about the deadline. I think I was supposed to talk about the deadline. Instead I talk about a time, and instead of for example, stakeholder
hack the operation or shut off the problem, the operation field, that is your number one priority. Because any data or any hours without production might cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to the business. And it would be low, like higher priority than giving an update for a public advertisement message to the CEO or anybody else in the hierarchy of the business. So urgency is one of the impact on operations, but also alignment to the business goals. So these are three criteria that you need to highlight in your answer. Now, once you clear out the criteria that you use to prioritize, now you need to talk about the tools. So structure your answer. Now, when we talk about the tools, the first one that's really mentioned is communication. That is key. Because what is priority to you might not be priority for your stakeholders. And you need to communicate and clarify that. If you need like an extra 2 weeks, 2 days, or 2 hours, they need to know that they are not waiting for something that will not come because of your own priorities. So communication is the first tool that you need to highlight. Interestingly enough, this is a position or a question that blends two things: project management skills and procurement skills. And you need to clearly state that you're going to be using a Gantt chart here. You need to visualize the steps of your project. You might highlight like the purge, critical path, the project. Any item on the critical path will need to be built on a higher priority than any item that is not on the critical path of your project. Your risk register, your stakeholder register. You know, on your stakeholder register and management plan, you have some stakeholders who need to be taken care of specifically. So you need to address them in a certain way. So those tools and techniques, you need to highlight them in that theoretical part of your answer briefly. Now, when it comes to the second part that is based on an example, use a star format and build up on those two projects: construction, rebranding, give us situation, an action, and a result. So Remy kind of like highlighted those aspects already. I won't go back to that. But overall, we had a good answer. Just organize better the content of your answers and make sure that you keep the situation on the star format for the end and highlight the result. The result could be at the end of the day, we were able to complete the construction project and the rebranding within the timeline and on the budget. We were able to maintain the relationship and extend it and hire or transfer the contract to another business unit. So your result might be monetary, timeline, or relationship with the stakeholders involved in the project. Those are my 2 cents for this question.
So I think, Remy, are you still there? Yeah, Remy would need to leave, so I would take over from her. So I just wanted to mention that so when she leaves,
Yes.
you don't see, okay,
Yes,
where is where?
I'm just listening. Yeah.
Oh, okay, then. Yeah, I will take over
Thank
from
you.
you here. Okay, yeah, bye.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you, Remy. Okay, Abby, do you have any feedback for this question?
Yeah, I think everything really getting what you are saying. Then regardless of what you know, then it wouldn't create that impression that you want to have on the audience, right? So I think that's really been emphasis for the most part. And yeah, and what I've observed over time is that when we have done this mock interview over and over, that it actually happens that in the next 1 hour, you will really see that shift, you know, from the interviewees, that they're actually now following that format that we are emphasizing. So that's also what I really want to see from you guys, that you do not only share your experience in a way that it's difficult for the listener to really capture the structure of your presentation. You want to make sure that you are responding in a way that they can really understand the ideas you're sharing, and you are providing examples and even numbers to back up, what you have been able to achieve. That is really the key, here. So that's what I'm going to say, in addition to all that have been provided in terms of feedback so far. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you, Abby. So I'm encourage the attendees to share their LinkedIn profile and connect with people in the chat. I've seen a couple of people already doing that. So this is also a networking opportunities, and the wider your network on LinkedIn is, and the better chance you have to connect with the right person at some point during your journey. So we go to the next question, and this is for German. Are you ready? Excellent. So, and we briefly spoke about this one, but I would like you to kind of like deep dive into this. What tools and software are you proficient in for your role as a category analyst?
Thanks, Gotra, for this question. I believe this is quite a nice question if we see from the category analyst point of view. So to provide an answer, I'm highly kind of proficient in using Excel for data analysis, which included the advanced functions in terms of data pivot tables and data visualization techniques. So I have used Excel for spend analysis, for scenario analysis, and to kind of prepare some extent for the cost modeling. So Cube, I used Excel to conduct a detailed spend analysis, and I've used other experience in terms of using the data visualization tools, that's the Power BI, to create interactive data dashboards that visualized category spending and the supply performance. And along with that, I also have experience using platforms such as IHS Market, and further, I'm kind of proficient in using the PowerPoint to create sort of compelling presentations that efficiently communicated analysis finding, the strategies, and the recommendation to the stakeholders involved in decision making. So if I cite an example, in the Smart Cube, I was primarily responsible for managing categories in terms of bearings and brakes for the MTD products. So to kind of analyze the spending to prepare the spend analysis for the suppliers involved, I have used Excel and made a use of PowerPoint to prepare the dashboards that kind of visualize how the suppliers perform and which suppliers could be the best suited for those categories. So this analysis, kind of the combination of Excel and Power BI, along with the other databases that includes Thomson, Icon, Nexus, Lexis, helped me kind of identify cost-saving opportunities that led to moreover, for cost modeling, so we had the separate team, who kind of helped us in terms of developing the cost models for us.
Okay. Sounds good. So you mentioned in your answer Excel. You mentioned PowerPoint for the visualization.
Power BI to some extent, because we started using Power BI, maybe not for the full duration, but at the kind of end of, I was in the last few months of with the organization.
Okay, sounds good. And Power BI. Okay. And on a scale of 1 to 10, how proficient would you say you are when it comes to using those three tools?
So if I say on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm proficient in using Excel on a 9, 8 to 9. And for PowerPoint as well, I'm proficient. If I can rate, it would be around 8 to 9. And Power BI, because that was a new tool and I used it for maybe a few months, so I can say it to be 7.
Okay. Oh, good. So thank you for your answer. And you touched up on all the aspects. In your star format response, the only thing that I was hoping to get a little bit more was on the results side of things. So you mentioned on the task as well. So you briefly mentioned a situation. So I was looking for more, right? Like what was the extent of the data? Was it like a 20,000 like item that you had to process? Was it geared towards the director of supply chain or operation management? What was the decision, the end of your presentation, right? What were the recommendations that you drove? That is, you can put the number the way you want, the way you want, but what matters is the recommendations. And from those recommendations, what was the decision from the executive team and how that impacted the bottom line of the company? So those is just a mean to the end goal. So even if you ask about the proficiency, you need to let us know how it impacted your position and it impacted the business as well. Okay, and then there's that so what question. So you're gonna be asked a question, but so what? And the answer to that so what is the impact on this part. Tell us what was the bottom line.
So do I have to also mention in terms of what kind of stakeholders were involved in kind of decision making?
Yes. If you
procurement managers. Okay.
Yeah.
Recording in progress.
That I used. So, do I need to pick a particular project to the recommendations? Maybe I can kind of maybe summarize the findings from a few of the projects, of the tools I've used to made.
Very good question. No, you take one project. If you take multiple projects, it can be hard for you to be concise and give a specific answer. And that's where we say when you go for a job interview, you need to have your value proposition. That means 5 different projects that you have worked on. And for each of the projects, you bullet point the stuff for the content and the star format. And based on the question that is asked, you go pick one of that project and you highlight and you answer the question. So the short answer is one project only, not 3 of them or 4 of them.
Sure. Thanks, Gautam.
My pleasure. Abidun, anything to add?
I don't think I.
Oh, you are muted.
Yeah, I think you already spoke to all those things that I probably would have mentioned, so I'm good. We can continue.
Sounds good. So yeah, back to you, Mr. Papa. So how do you ensure that you are getting the best value for the company in your procurement decisions? I'm going to repeat the question. How do you ensure that you're getting the best value out in your procurement decision?
Okay, like I think this one is the most difficult part of the procurement job. So what I used to do is first I have to focus on the TCO, the total cost of ownership, and I'm always looking for the best bidder, not only the cheaper. I don't know if you see what I'm talking about. Not the cheaper, but the best bidder, because I have to use a matrix like an SQSCI matrix, like S for security, Q for quality, S for safety, C for the cost and the innovation. To make sure that if I have a supplier who meets all these criteria, it should be the supplier with the best bidder. So because sometimes we can decide to purchase something and a supplier will just get the contract. We try to propose a cheaper price, maybe with not the best quality or not the best delivery time. To make sure that we're getting the best value for my company, I used to use this matrix to and I have to assess every criteria on this matrix. And after that, if I have a supplier with the best bidder, in all these criteria in the matrix, now I will propose this supplier, and if I need to negotiate with supplier before contracting, I will do it. But it's what I used to do to make sure that I'm getting the best value for my company.
Okay, thank you for the answer. Okay, I'll give it a shot at this question. Okay, so the best value includes multiple elements. It could be cost of acquisition, it could be the transportation cost, it could be the lead time, it could be the payment terms, it could be the input terms. So we had a blowout in one of our plants, and we had to purchase an emergency PSV, pressure safety valve. And I went in our company's record and identified 3 companies where we purchased it before. So I sent an RFQ to all those 3 companies, and 2 of them came back with identical items with different prices, long lead time, and the third one proposed us a substitute valve that was readily available. So because of the urgency of this item, I decided to go with the substitute valve as the first option and look at those 2 options. But before approving that substitute valve that was readily available, I went to the end users and asked them to validate that the substitute will work for the plant, because every single day passed without the production will put the population in the dark, because it was negotiations involved because of the payment terms. They wanted a 100% upfront, but we had to negotiate. We came up with a 50% down payment and 50% at an FCA Incoterm, which means at the pickup of the item. So at the end of the day, we were able to have a shutdown of the field for only 5 days, and the valve was expedited by air to the field, and we went back into operation in a shorter time than expected. So that is an example of an answer. So, and I was able to use my star format, but also use the technical jargon that's relayed in it. So anytime you have this type of question, ask yourself, what is the best project that I've worked on, and how can I use the technical word that is expected out of me? It's not the best answer possible, but does it category analyst, you work with multiple stakeholders and they gather their opinion, their view, their ideas, their data, and present their outcome afterwards. So I like the fact that you were able, first of all, to find a solution between both of you before you go to your category manager. But with that team member, because you work at different positions, but what helps you to kind of find a middle ground? What technique, what tool did you use to find a middle ground?
So the reasoning I gave to my colleague is that it would be more in line with a specific region to source those components, and they want to be cost efficient as well. So the reason was that we should look for the competitors who are actually, or who are the other companies who are doing the similar things in the market, because that will give us kind of a baseline
or a base to start with, looking for the supplies, or at least identify the regions. So in Asia Pac, there could be there are a lot of countries, and there are a lot of suppliers who are kind of manufacturing those uh, catalytic mufflers, but we have to maintain the stringent quality requirements as well. So if we can look for the competitor like Husqvarna, who was actually outsourcing the parts from the Malaysian supplier. So that was the reasoning, to which we narrowed down our approach, that going alongside with identifying the first identifying the competitors and from which country they were sourcing. That was the kind of baseline, to proceed ahead.
Sounds good, sounds good. So, and now you narrow down on the two elements: client focus, customer focus, and the company's strategies and objectives. So those are the two drivers of any of your positions. And the second thing that I've noted, and that's very important to highlight, clear metrics and criteria. So if you have clear metrics and criteria, it's a good chance that both of you will speak the same language, and using those criteria come up to something that is more kind of like a consensus at the end of the day. So anytime you talk about conflict or oppositions, think about communication, alignment with the customer's needs, alignment with the customer strategies and objectives, and as well as clear criteria matrix in how you come together in that. And remember, at the end of the day, you have one main objective: to drive the business forward, right? You need to end up, even if you don't agree, you still need to have that, friendly, like normal working environment. So that should be kept in the back of your mind when you answer that type of question. So thank you very much. It wasn't an easy question, and I hope that Papa also took some notes for that question.
And so just a follow-up question. So how do we kind of use the star approach from this scenario? So it's the outcome over here. So it can be the outcome in terms of what happened at the end, in terms of what strategy we chose. That could be the outcome we can state here.
So the outcome, I think you mentioned that, if we were able to agree on the supplier, after we have agreed on the objectives and the plan needs, on the criteria and the criteria, each of us went and put some ratings in and some reasoning behind the ratings, and then we used a weighted average summary to add up our result. And at the end, the average of our result was we were able to select supplier B instead of supplier A. So that is your outcome: a consensus, an agreement on who will be the best solution in line with our customer needs and our corporate strategy. That is your outcome.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot for clarifying this question.
You are welcome. So, Mr. Papa, how do you handle supplier performance issues? And can you provide an example? And I know you mentioned a lot of experience in vendor or supplier relationship management. So, and there's always issues that will happen. It could be like deadline, pricing, quality, you name it. So how do you handle supplier performance issues? And can you provide us with an example?
Okay, thank you, Gauthier, for this question. In my experience, I used to like face this problem a lot of time. I'll take an example of like a supplier who was like failing with delivery. Like we had a project, a construction project with suppliers, and he felt like to deliver the project multiple times. And after like every time we had another RFT, like this same supplier is like always bidding cheaper. We're trying to figure out what's going on, and we make an analyze, and we have conclusions that the way this supplier is bidding cheaper and the way he's not delivering like the project at time, like there are like they have like there is something that and we decided to do a meeting with the suppliers, and he was facing a financial problem, like, and the problem is because of us. Like he did a job with us and we did not pay the supplier at time, and we did not notice it in our procurement department because like the stakeholder, like our internal customer, who ask to the supplier to do the job, does not follow our procurement policy. So that's why he's struggling to get him back. The supplier don't have enough money like to deliver his current project, and he doesn't want to tell us the problem because like he don't want to be blacklisted or like something else. And that's why for the future RFT, he's bidding cheaper to get the opportunity and have like the money to deliver this project. So we decided to find a solution that will help us and help the supplier. So like we decide to do something out of our procurement policy. We decide to pay the supplier for that job that our internal the stakeholder asked him to do. So we decide to pay it because the job is already done, and decide at the same time, like in internal, to do a training for all internal customer to follow our policy, because like sometimes they don't like decide to not follow the policy because they want to do it, but sometimes they don't know like what to do in case of situation. So we decided that maybe in intern, some stakeholders need to have an training for our policy, and that's what we do. And at the same time, like we pay the supplier for the job, like, and the feedback for me for this kind of situation is not to always try to punish or blacklist a supplier. It's good to try to figure out what's going on with the supplier, what the supplier is actually like living, trying to understand, and maybe we can try to figure out like a solution that is a good one for both parties. Thank you.
Okay. Well, Thank you. That was a very, very interesting example that you took there. And as you were talking, I was putting myself in the hiring manager or the executive that will be hiring you. And I've spotted a couple of like internal issues. And anytime you mention an issue, try to take advantage of that and say and tell us what you have done to solve it. We had an issue where the internal stakeholder could be the technicians or the maintenance department. So as much as possible, replace stakeholders with the right like, the actual stakeholder's name. The maintenance department, or it could be like the manufacturing team. It helps all to understand your example. So we need to know they're not following the processes. You gave that issue, but you didn't tell us how you solve. You say you have a training for the end users on how to follow the policies. Tell us what was the outcome of that training. Did you move from 5% or 10% of the purchase not following the procurement policies down to 1% after 1 year of training and follow up? We need to know the outcome of the initiative. You mentioned the issue of low bidding by your supplier to get the contract. How extensive was that low bidding? Was that only on the short, like 3, 6, 9 months time frame, or was this something that had happened over the 3 to 5 years? Was that something that was unique to that supplier? Maybe think of an initiative that you have run by yourself, of like running a spend data analysis, figure out the performance of on-time delivery, and for the past 2 years for your commodity class, right? If you have run that study or that analysis, what was the outcome? Did you find 3 or 4 more suppliers who were in the same position, right? So we need to know that you're not only looking at a single issue, maybe it's more systemic than you can actually think. That is where your strategic thinking comes into play. Now, the third thing that I will drive out of your example is the AP department. You mentioned that they did not get paid on time, but you didn't tell what action you took on the AP department comparable to ensure that moving forward, they are paid on time. What was missing? So you need to factor in what solution you took to ensure that moving forward, any invoice that is 30, 45 days overdue, you have a communication put into place with your suppliers to reach out to you, escalate those payments, right? If it was an internal issue with the payment life cycle or cycle process, how do you internally get it fixed? By initiating a talk with your manager, who will in turn talk to your finance manager, talk to the CEO or whatsoever. Anytime you bring a problem, give us a sense of solution approach. That is what makes you a problem solver, not a problem bringer. Okay. So I really love that example. Just like build up on that and find any single issue that you bring. Show us how you went to the root cause and how you leverage it to bring a solution for the good health of the company. That's what hiring managers are looking for. Any follow-up? Sorry. I hear you.
Hi, I'm the company and
You're breaking out. Yeah.
No,
Go ahead.
no, it's not.
Slightly.
Okay, thank you very much, the team and panelists and the attendees. It was a really insightful and interesting session. I took some notes and learned a few things. So we have some questions in the comment section. So the first one will be, what should a buyer consider during contract management or drafting? Can you please help answer the question? Can you hear me, please?
Okay, so I think the question is, can you explain the involvement with the procurement agent and the contract management? And I believe there was okay.
Okay, so the question is, what should a buyer consider during contract management or drafting?
Okay, that's a very good question. What should a buyer consider while working, drafting a contract? So drafting a contract will be different to contract management. So you draft usually in your contract preparation. And when you go to execution, that's when you manage the contract. So if you go first to the drafting stage, first of all, you need to know what are the liabilities that lie into that contract. And in most companies, your legal department will provide you with a template for the contract. And in that contract, they will tell you which areas should not be modified to prevent the company to be in a very bad position. That's the first thing. Now, the second thing that you need to consider is usually you will receive a quote or an RFP from the other party. So you need to factor those one in and just ensure that they are not very conflictual with what your company is comfortable with. There is some element that sometimes when we draft a contract, we are not very, we don't pay attention to, the Incoterms. The Incoterms in FCA and X work seems to be identical, but they have like a high impact on the liability when it comes to purchasing, especially outsourcing out of the country. So those details, the origination area, if the company might be in Asia, where is your origination city or entity? Is it like in China or is it in Canada? So that's what I'll be looking at when it comes to drafting. Also, learn about who you'll be dealing with. If you're a buyer, are you going to be the negotiator? And also learn who's going to be sitting on the other side of the table. Is that a director? If that's the case, try to involve your director as well, at some level, or keep him up to date. That's where the negotiation power is kind of like even out. Right? Learn about the person. Two people negotiate. It's two companies sign the contract, but it's two people who negotiate. Know who he is. Know what is your bargaining negotiated, your best bargaining negotiated, your partner. Define it upfront. What can you accept or what can't you accept? That is in the preparation stage, drafting stage. Now, when it comes to management, that's the execution. You want to know, are we in compliance with what we say we will be doing in terms of timelines, quality, like the number of people that we'll be sending on the field, the certification that they will have. So buyer, you need to consider all those aspects, both for the preparation of the contract and the execution of the contract. Just in a nutshell, that's what I would say. If there's more details or if there's something specific that you wanted me to address, please, okay, feel free to maybe unmute yourself or type back into the chat.
Thank you very much, Goche. Papa, I can see that you are leaving this session. Thank you very much for your time and contribution. Enjoy the rest of your day. So we have another question, and says, what should be the target time for answering a question given the limited interview time?
So come again, what is the difference?
Target time for answering a question given the limited interview time. Is there a target time to answer interview questions?
Okay, thank you, Orakinyo, for the question. What should be the target time for answering a question given the limited interview time? So I'll say 4 to 5 minutes, but that is just a rough guidelines. It's a conversation. And if your answers are well structured and they hit straight where it needs to go, and 1 hour interview can easily go to 2 hours. And if it happens, know that you have piqued the interest of the interviewers because they want to talk to you. They want to know more about what you have. So they are diving right in. But if you have like a 1 hour interview and it gets short in 30 minutes, like something went on wrong. So I would say an average of 5 minutes, but what is more important is the content and the conciseness of your answer. Make sure that you give the theoretical concept or the definitions. Make sure that your answer is right to the point, but using the star format. And anytime there's a follow-up question, use it as an opportunity to knock it out of the park and solidify your position as the best candidate ever.
Okay, thank you very much once again. Okay, I think the last question would be directed to Biodo. So it says, what is the difference between the SPMP and ASCM certification? It's a little different, but I guess it's okay. Yeah. Thank you, Abiodun. I believe the CIPS is under the ASCM as well, because someone is asking what about CIPS? Okay, thank you, Abiodun. How would the attendees get access to the recording of this meeting? Would it be sent them via mail or? Okay, thank you very much, Abiodun. And I think we will be rounding up the session now, and I would like to thank the attendees and the panelists. Thank you, Gautier. Thank you, Goman, for your time. And I believe the attendees have learned quite a number of things from this session. However, I will be dropping a few links for a 15-minute, if you want to have a 15-minute discovery chat with Abiodun. This would help to, if you need insight or clarification on supply chain, project management in general. The link is already in the chat box. And lastly, I would like to share the link for the supply chain industry network where you can all join, and you'd have access to whatever information that's been shared. Lastly, I would like to add that we usually do this session every Saturday. So we look forward to seeing more of you guys in coming Saturdays. Thank you very much, everyone. I don't know if Abiodun would like to add any other thing to what I've said, but before he does, I would like to just let you know that the meeting link would be left on for about 5 minutes, so that if you would like to get links, LinkedIn links from other attendees and other links that were shared on the chat box, you would have access to get such information. So thank you very much, everyone. Abiodun, over to you.
Bye, everyone. Have a nice day. Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks, Abhidan.
Bye,
Thanks for your time. Take
everyone.
care. Bye. Bye, Avila.
Recording stopped.